Good morning once again from Boston Harbor. I'm meteorologist Mike Seidel. We are following this big coastal storm setting low pressure records, dumping up to almost a foot of rain in McClellanville, South Carolina, and causing record-setting flooding in many areas. We've got numerous flash flood warnings in the interior. Here in the Boston metro area, we're not getting that kind of rainfall. So far, we've had about 1.33 inches at Logan Airport. That's right across the harbor over there, where winds have gusted to 53 miles an hour. As far as the airport goes, there is a ground stop until 10 a.m. We'll see if they extend that. There's a medium chance of that. That's for the close-in routes, not for the entire country. So not every flight that's headed to Boston is being held at its departure location, but also a ground delay program. That goes through this evening. Average arrival delays now averaging over an hour and a half. They've had about 140 cancellations. All but a few of those are the regional air carriers. The mainline jets seem to be doing okay at this point, and so far so good in New York. The rain has moved out for now, so those airports not being impacted by rain. Count on some delays, but no delay programs from the FAA for LaGuardia, Newark, and Kennedy. As far as power outages go, they continue to ramp up. Here in the state of Massachusetts, just under 100,000 customers. So that has almost tripled in the past 2 hours, and that is about 3.5% of the power base. Fortunately, it is a warm day. Temperature right now 60 degrees. The record high today, 61. I believe we touched that between 8 and 9 a.m. So incredibly mild, and that's because of this wind coming south-southeast. Now that is going to cause a problem in coastal Rhode Island. They're concerned about some significant flooding around Narragansett Bay. They think that the tidal gauge there at Fox Point could head up to around the Hurricane Bob number of 9.9 feet. And speaking of feet, there's a buoy off Block Island, Rhode Island, Jen, with 20-foot waves right now. So this is a very powerful storm. Although it is a warm storm, it's still causing all the same issues: big waves, lots of rain, lots of wind, but no snow and ice, Dr. Postel. And by the way, on a personal note, I have never gotten, in 30 plus years of the Weather Channel, I've never gone past December 1st without seeing some snow, and here it is a week before Christmas, and I have not yet seen my first flake of snow. We'll see what happens between now and New Year's, but boy, what a fall it's been for most of us. Now, there's been a lot of heavy snow, as we know, in northern New England, some in the lake effect areas and in the mountains of the west. And you found some for the Midwest before Christmas.
Mike, we're trying. We're doing what we can, and I appreciate your reporting. Hang tough out there in those gusty winds in Boston, where we're right now gusting over 50 miles per hour at Logan International. And remember, New England could see some of the strongest wind gusts of this storm as we head through the next few hours. With meteorologist Mike Seidel now joining us live from Boston with the latest conditions there. Mike, it's kind of reminiscent of a tropical system, or at least a remnant of one, moving through the region.
Yes, indeed. In fact, the winds have gusted over 50, 54, but we had sustained winds of 39, Dr. Postel, which is right there at the minimal tropical storm force, sustained winds impacting Logan Airport. Well, a ground stop right now scheduled until at least 11 for the kind of the regional area, northeast, eastern Canada flights. So not every flight heading to Boston is being held at its departure city, but there is a ground delay program, and that is up in through this evening as the winds will continue to be strong. They'll weaken somewhat through the evening, and it'll also switch around to the southwest as we get past about 4 or 5 o'clock. That's about the same time the rain is going to wrap up. Well, look at Boston Harbor. We got the boats here bobbing up and down, tied up, waves crashing over the bobbing docks here with these winds that have been gusting just the past few minutes, nearly 50 miles an hour. The rain has not been a big issue close in. In fact, the flood watches are basically beyond I-95. Boston Logan has had just under 1.5 inches of rain. Out on the Cape, they've had some spots have not even had a 1/2 inch of rain. And you can see on the radar, they've had periods this morning, and right now that it's not raining at all. They're just getting the wind out there upwards of 40 to 50 miles an hour. Big concern for flooding and impacts South Shore, Rhode Island, Narragansett Bay area. In fact, they're forecasting the gauge at Foxhole to go up to 9.7. 9.9 was Hurricane Bob. Well, that was one for the record books, and one those older folks remember, 1991. So we'll see how that shakes out. Meanwhile, on the south coast here, down in New Bedford, a coastal flood advisory for the high tide coming up in the middle of the day, and that will be it. But despite the wind and despite the rain, we have a jogger out here. Hi, what's your name?
I'm Sydney. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Mike on the Weather Channel. Not bothering you at all?
Nah, you're good.
Not running into the wind?
I used to live in Boston and I miss the harbor, so
Okay.
yeah.
Try to go don't go into the wind, go against the wind.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
Good morning from Boston Harbor. I'm meteorologist Mike Seidel out here at Long Wharf. It is a week before Christmas and it's 60 degrees here in Boston. They have tied the record today at 61. Boston Harbor all chopped up. We're still seeing some ferry service, but that's about it. And now the rain has come back and we can't see the runways very well. I don't think you can see them on camera on the TV screen because of the rainfall. Winds gusting over at Logan Airport now. Peak gusts 54 miles an hour, sustaining winds 25 to 30 consistently through the morning down to the late morning hours. And still that ground stop at Logan until 11 a.m. So that's about 25 plus minutes away. We'll see if they lift it. That's for more of the regional routes, eastern Canada, northeastern parts of the U.S. Not every plane in the United States is being held at its origination coming into Boston. Well, the wind has really knocked out a lot of power, up to about 130,000 customers statewide. The hardest hit county is Plymouth County as far as the percentages. Statewide, it's about 4% of all customers. That's a pretty high number, and that just continues to climb. Just a few hours ago, we were around 25,000 customers, now 130,000, so we're about almost 6 times as many customers. Rainfall has come back, but again, the heaviest rain is going to stay and the impact staying generally west of 95. We have the flood watches from the National Weather Service there. East of there, we don't have any flood watches and no flash flood warnings right now in the state, but it will rain, and the latest Turbo model is predicting another roughly inch of rain in the Boston area before it winds down mid to late afternoon. Heading home 4 or 5 o'clock, I think the rain is going to be out of here. We're still going to have the wind, but gradually through the late afternoon hours, once that storm and front blow by, the wind's going to go from the south-southeast around to the south-southwest and southwest, and that's going to bring in the drier air. Very gusty out here this morning, Dr. Postel, and it will continue that way through the afternoon. The only thing we're missing out on is the heavy rainfall. We don't need that. They've had plenty of rain this year, but the fact that it's just this warm the week before Christmas is kind of amazing. I mean, it just, the fact that we haven't really seen any snow on the I-95 corridor so far, any significant snowfall, is unusual.
Yeah. Mike, record high temperatures are being broken right now across parts of eastern New England. Thank you very much for that reporting. Stay safe out there.
Boston and most of eastern Massachusetts getting battered by 50-mile-an-hour plus wind gusts, causing all kinds of issues. First, let's talk about the airport. Logan Airport across the harbor, and look at the chop out here. Not a good day for boating, although some of the ferries have been running. At the airport, a ground delay program goes through this evening, and there's been a ground stop for most of the morning hours, so check with your air carrier. About 150 flights canceled so far. Most of those are the regional air carriers, the RJs, and not the mainline jets. Behind me, the boats bobbing up and down, the wave action as those winds just push the water. The thing about the wind, it's from the south and southeast. It's unusually warm today in Boston. In fact, we've hit 61, which ties the record high for December 18th. No snow and ice to worry about, just the wind and the rain. As far as the flooding, there are no flood watches basically from I-95 east. We're not getting the kind of rain they're getting west of here and south of here. We've had numerous flash flood warnings, but there is going to be probably another inch of rain in the Boston area before it begins to shut down mid to late afternoon. The real concern on the coast is the Rhode Island coastline at Fox Point. They're expecting the water to peak at around 9.6 to 9.7 feet, rivaling Hurricane Bob, which is at 9.9 feet. That was back in 1991. So a very stormy but very warm day here in eastern Massachusetts. This will all move out, and things will be much calmer tomorrow with sunny skies and temperatures in the 40s.